Before this video starts, just want to wish a happy late Thanksgiving to those who celebrated. Hope you had a great day. Thanksgiving is a great day where we give thanks and eat a ton of food. Maybe probably more than we should, but most importantly, it's a great day where we all come together to watch football. There's nothing more Thanksgiving than sitting down and watching football, and here are 10 of the greatest moments in the day's history. Thanksgiving Day 1998. Randy Moss was a rookie at the time, and the Cowboys had passed over him at the draft because they were worried about his character issues. The Vikings visited Dallas, and Randy Moss put up one of the most absolutely ridiculous stat lines we've ever seen. Moss finished the game with only 3 catches for 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Moss also had a 2-point conversion catch. Minnesota won the game 46-36, but nobody cares because that game is only known for one reason: the dominance of Randy Moss. Perhaps the most iconic Thanksgiving moment came exactly 1 decade ago. The Patriots were coming off of a Super Bowl losing season and absolutely embarrassed the Jets. The Patriots dominated the second quarter, where they scored 35 straight points. And in the midst of all that, Mark Sanchez had maybe the most wild fumble in NFL history: the butt fumble. After a weird botched handoff, Sanchez ran straight up to his offensive line and ran into Brandon Moore's butt and managed to fumble the ball. Steve Gregory picked up the loose ball and took it 43 yards. The Jets ultimately lost that game 49-19. Leon Lett. He's already known for one of the biggest gaffes in NFL history, which came in the Super Bowl, where he recovered a fumble and nearly returned it all the way back for a touchdown before he started showboating early and was stripped for a touchback. Well, months before that, on Thanksgiving, he cost Dallas the game. It was a hard-fought battle between Dallas and Miami that came down to a field goal. If the Dolphins missed it, the game was essentially over. Well, Dallas blocked the kick, and while the ball was dead, as long as the Cowboys player didn't touch it, Leon Lett ran up and slipped in the snow and touched the ball, allowing the Dolphins to recover and get a second chance. Miami went on to hit a 19-yard field goal and win the game on the next play. Peyton Manning is one of the greatest players in NFL history, and he put up one of the greatest Thanksgiving Day performances in NFL history too, back in 2004 against the Lions. The Colts blasted the Lions 41-9, and Peyton Manning threw for 6 touchdowns in the win, 4 of which came in the first half. Brandon Stokely and Marvin Harrison caught all 6 of those, by the way, both catching 3. Manning finished with a quarterback rating of 141.9 and only threw 5 incompletions in the game, a truly historic Thanksgiving Day performance. Thanksgiving Day 1976. The juice was loose. On the field, I mean. O.J. Simpson was an absolute killer at the running back position, and he dominated the Lions on the national stage. Buffalo was an absolutely terrible football team that season and still lost that game 27-14, despite O.J. Simpson rushing for a then NFL record 273 yards. He rushed 29 times at 9.4 yards per carry and scored 2 touchdowns. It was historic at the time, but as it currently stands, it's no longer even a top 5 rushing game of all time. Lawrence Taylor, LT, one of, if not the greatest defensive players in NFL history, had an absolute field day in 1982. The Giants faced off against the Lions, and LT started off with a sack, and really, the Detroit offense just couldn't do anything against the New York defense. The Lions quarterback at the time, Gary Danielson, finished the game with a passer rating of 42.5 after he only completed 12 passes, didn't have a touchdown, and threw 3 picks. The third of which was the play of the game, when LT picked it off and went 97 yards for the game-winning score for a 13-6 Giants win. There is one specific game that Barry Sanders shined the most in during his time in Detroit, but we just have to talk about Barry Sanders on Thanksgiving for a second. We could literally make this video a top 5 Barry Sanders moments on Thanksgiving. He was that good. He essentially is the all-time Thanksgiving MVP. He played on the big day 10 times in his career and helped the Lions go 7-3. In all, he had 210 carries for 931 yards and 8 touchdowns on Thanksgiving in his career, the best of which was a game against the Bears in 1997. He ended up rushing for 167 yards and had 3 touchdowns in an absolute beatdown of Chicago. The game ended 55-20, and that actually kept the Lions' playoff hopes alive. Clinton Longley is the most unlikely Thanksgiving Day hero. Longley was a rookie in 1974 and backed up Roger Staubach. The Cowboys hosted the Redskins in a game where Washington had actually put a $200 bounty on Staubach, something that wasn't really an uncommon thing back then. Staubach suffered a concussion in the third quarter with Dallas down 16-3, and all of a sudden, rookie Clinton Longley had to step in. The Cowboys took a 1-point lead into the fourth quarter before Washington regained that lead. With 35 seconds left in the game, down 6 on the 50-yard line, Longley found Hall of Famer Drew Pearson for a game-winning score. Dallas and Washington are huge rivals, but the Cowboys playing on Thanksgiving every season, the Redskins got to play a lot too. The Redskins struggled in Thanksgiving games in general, but especially against Dallas, they're just 1-9 all time. That lone victory was an iconic one back in 2012, the same year as the butt fumble. The Redskins entered their bye week 3-6, and were struggling to say the least. 4 days ahead of the Thanksgiving Day matchup, the Redskins defeated the Eagles, and after the Cowboys took a 3-0 lead in the second quarter, rookie Griffin III came out of nowhere. Washington scored 28 unanswered points in the quarter, and RG3 put up one of the greatest rookie stat lines in Thanksgiving Day history: 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a single pick. Dallas didn't roll over though. The Cowboys continued to fight and lost by just one score, 38-31. Not only was RG3 fantastic, but so was Tony Romo, as he put up one of the best performances we've ever seen: 441 yards and 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. A truly legendary game, and the Redskins went on to not lose another game in the year, with the true turnaround moment being that Thanksgiving Day. The NFL has been playing games on Thanksgiving Day since its inception in 1920, but there are 2 teams specifically that play on the day every single season: the Detroit Lions, who have played on the day since 1934 because the old owner, George Richards, actually convinced NBC to broadcast the game across the country, and now they're a Thanksgiving Day staple. The other, the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys were trying to boost the team's popularity back in 1966, and GM Tex Schramm thought it'd be a good chance for the country to see the Cowboys cheerleaders, and they've played ever since. 3 other teams have often played on Thanksgiving Day too: the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, and Arizona Cardinals, all of which have played 20 plus times. Only 4 matchups have happened at least 10 times: Lions Packers, Lions Bears, Bears Cardinals, and Cowboys Redskins. One of the coolest parts of Thanksgiving games is definitely the post game, when CBS and Fox award the Turkey Leg Award, given to the game's MVP. It all started with Reggie White back in 1989, and since, the player takes a bite out of a turkey leg post game. Thanksgiving is an amazing day every year, and it's awesome to sit back, eat a ton of food, and watch football.